how have we gotten ourselves into this conversation? What have we been doing the past 6 months or so when we were nowhere to showing up in the polls? Secondly, and most importantly, when you have an incumbent who's running below 30% in terms of his approval and the support that he has, it tells you that he's in trouble. He's in a lot of trouble. And if you put together all the support of the opposition, you see that it is possible, if the opposition were to present a united front, to actually have a new government in place in 12 months. So, which is why we in Linda Mwananchi are more focused about those conversations of unity, making sure that we present a formidable candidate against President William Ruto. Those permutations will change from time to time, because they say that an opinion poll is just a barometer of a moment in time. It changes every time. And this is just one pollster. I'm sure that if there was another pollster, the numbers would be different. You'll find different numbers from Infotrack and the others, and from TIFA and the others. So it is not something to dwell on. What we want is to put in the hard work. Just put in the hard work, reach as many people as possible, try and explain to them this new offering, you know, that things can actually be done differently in our country, and that there are higher aspirations than just some of these things that we hear people talking about, roads and stadiums and so on and so forth. Because when we talk to the people, they're explaining to us that, Sifuna, we want a country that actually lives to the ideals and the values in our constitution. They want a government that is run on values. Any of these governments can do these things that we speak about. But when you increasingly hear and listen to the people in government, their proposition seems to be that for as long as I've built you roads, it doesn't matter how I've treated you. And the people are saying no. The people are saying no, that human rights, democracy, these things are important to them. In fact, they are higher in their pecking order to some of these things that William Ruto likes to front load, like markets and roads. So we have to put in the work. I have said here on this show that nobody thinks, or in Linda Mwananchi, nobody thinks that it's going to be easy. We have to put in the work. We have to persuade people. Tomorrow we have a meeting with a team of our experts who is going to start preparing a platform, because Kenyans are increasingly saying, Sifuna, we all are on the same page that Ruto needs to go, and these are the reasons why we are saying he must go. These are the things he did to get us here. What sort of country do we wake up to after we've kicked him out? Because Yvonne, the sense of unease and impatience that I feel, especially amongst the young people, even if we were to succeed to gain power in this country, we are not going to have the luxury of time. People want to see immediate changes. You've heard the story there of Margaret Nyakango, the control of budget, saying our borrowing is getting out of hand. We're dealing with 13 trillion shillings in debt. And there is no other way. We need to have a team in power that will immediately cut government spending, so that we are able to deal with the question of taxation in the next financial year. So there are serious conversations to be had. I want you people to move away from this fascination of who's going to be number one and who's going to be number two. No. That's not it. We want to be able to tell you that this is the country you will wake up to on the 11th of August in 2027.
So let's talk about that, because there are some who say, you know, the slogan, Ruto must go, yes, which is your slogan. So Ruto must go, then what? Yes. What's your plan? First of all, why must he go, in your view?
Correct.
And then what? What is your plan? Because people are saying, okay, a slogan is one thing,
yes,
but what plan do you have for this country?
Yeah, so we have a history as a country, Yvonne, and I've tried to tell this story 100 times. There is a life we used to live. Then we decided that this life has to stop. And I will take you back to 2002, which was the first time that some of us were voting. When we were kicking out Moi, why were we saying Moi must go? Why were we saying the Kanu state has to go? It's not because Moi did not build stadiums. Moi built 2 stadiums. Moi is the one who built Kasarani. Moi is the one who built Nyayo Stadium. And in fact, after that, no other person has ever built. I think this Talanta is going to be the next one. But there is a life we used to live that was unacceptable to us. And especially as measured against the 6 essential values that I keep speaking about that are highlighted in the preamble of the Constitution. Number 1 is human rights, democracy, the rule of law, social justice, equity, equality. All of those things mean something to Kenyans, that our lives have to be lived within a context of democratic ideals. So when you hear people saying, oh, you tell us how many roads you're going to build, it doesn't matter how many people you've killed as a government. Kenyans are increasingly telling us that these values of human rights and the right to life, that is the reason why people are saying we are not going to be attracted by these shiny things. We know that people who believe in democracy can also build stadiums and roads, but we don't want a dictator in power. We don't want to see the things that happen in our neighboring countries happening in Kenya. So William Ruto, by the way, I will accept that in the election of 2022, he rode on a very popular wave. I think he was very popular, especially with the small Mwananchi. Then you have to ask him, how did he lose all of that support? What are the things that he did? First of all, you get in and power gets to your head and you become very obstinate, that you refuse to listen to the people. There is a value under Article 10 which talks about public participation. We are servants of the people, Yvonne. You have to listen to the people. If the people tell you that they don't want something, you don't force it upon them just because you are in power. That is part of the problem. And all these problems began, I remember in 2023, when Raila was still around and we were running around doing our maandamano with the sufurias on the head, we started by having a conversation at Jivanji Gardens, and we told the government that these are the things we feel you need to address. First of all, the cost of living was going way beyond the means of, or the capacity of many Kenyans. And you need to listen so that you are able to make interventions to be able to assuage the suffering of the population. What were we met with? Instead of listening to us, we were met with tear gas and bullets in the streets, and we lost a lot of lives back then. Then comes the taxation. I mean, we have been in this space.
Are you looking for someone to spend